Hi there, I'm Alan Turner. I'm the executive chef for Agri Co. We're the producers of St. Helens and Double R Ranch beef. Today I'm going to show you how to roast a top round roast. Just a roast that you can pick up at the local grocery store, and here's how we're going to do it. First, this is about a 5-pound top round roast here, and you can see the top round tends to be very lean. That makes it very good for roasting. This isn't a roast that you would braise. This is a roast that you would definitely put in the oven on dry, high heat. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a little salt and pepper. I use kosher salt at all times. The reason that I do use kosher salt when I'm using plain salt is because we can see it. And I'm sure that you can actually see that I can see where I've salted. Using a finer salt is more difficult to see. So be very liberal. The part that's seasoned on this roast is just the outside. It's just the very, very little thin edge on the outside, so don't be afraid. You can't over season it. A little pepper. Actually, my grandmother could over season it, but I don't think most people could do that. And if you're listening, Grandma, you know I'm right. Okay, we'll just take a little off of that. Look at that. We get it all there, just like that. Now we're going to take it over and we're going to sear it. Okay. So I have a very hot pan with some high heat vegetable oil. The important part is to give this a good sear. And that's exactly the sound we want to hear. We're going to let this sit. We're going to give this a couple minutes on each side. And the whole concept here is to sear the juices inside the beef. So as it cooks, the juices will act as a barrier. So once we get this a nice brown sear on the outside, now we can roast it at a little more gentle temperature, and it's going to keep all the juices inside for us. So we're going to put this in the oven. This is 325 degrees. Middle shelf is good. On a rack, we want to raise the roast off the hot surface of the pan so that it cooks evenly all the way around. That's what the rack is for. This is a 4 to 5 pound roast. This should take an hour and a half to 2 hours at 325 degrees. We'll be using a thermometer to check temperature. All right, it's been a couple of hours, and we should be able to pull this out and let it rest so that we can carve it. And it looks beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on my cutting board where I'm going to carve it. And I'm going to take this piece of foil that I've got here. I'm just going to tent that like that. This is very important. What we're going to do now is we're going to let this rest. By letting it rest, what that means is all of those juices that are trying to expand out of the roast, if you've ever poked a roast, which is bad, by the way, don't do that. If you've ever poked a roast and you notice all the juices running out, that's what they're trying to do. So if you carve a roast right after you take it out of the oven, imagine poking it, only worse, because what's going to happen is you slice it, all those juices are going to be on your plate and not in your beef. And that's where we want to keep it. So we're going to let this rest just for a little while. Don't worry, it's not going to get cold. It's just going to relax a little bit, and then we'll be able to carve it. Okay, it's had plenty of time to rest. We're going to look at this roast. I can tell that the grain goes this way. Just by looking, you can see the grain that runs along that. So what we're going to do to carve it is we're going to start right there. We're going to carve right against that grain. You'll notice that this roast is very evenly roasted all the way across. Nice medium rare roast. So there you go. 325 degrees after we've seared it for about 2 hours to 135 degrees internal temperature. We let it rest, and then we can carve. I'm Alan Turner, and now you know how to cook a top round roast.